No problem. So here we are with the last session. I love it. I'm excited because all of you stayed out late. Maybe now you've come out and this is the last session you'll see. And I want to leave you with something fun and exciting. So a few heads up along the way. I talk extremely fast. So if you missed something, raise your hand. I'll try to repeat it. 2, I do my darndest not to swear, but I'm from Chicago and sometimes passion takes over. If I swear and you're offended, I'm sorry. I don't do it because I like to swear. I do it because I just punctuates a statement, okay? But I will go everything I have not to. And the last thing I'll tell you is that I want you guys to be informed, maybe even a little bit entertained, and leave here just one thing thinking about it differently. That's it. So the briefest of introductions is over. I am Sean Welsh. That is the introduction. Today we're going to talk about planning ahead. This is all about a way to avoid waste and overspending. I've been doing it for years, and I love it. I have a passion for budgets and money. You guys have been here for 2.5 days. You've been told a million different ways to spend your money. I want to go over as many as I can in the next 50 minutes, all right? I'm going to show you that you have everything you need at your fingertips. You don't need more dashboards you won't log into. You don't need more vendors because you already have ones. There's only one internet, and I'm going to prove it to you today. Time and inspection is what it will take. But I realize, having been in on the dealer side my whole life, this is my 20th year, I realize time and inspection isn't something you guys have a lot of. And I get that. I'm going to try and give you quick hits to make it easy. And unlike, this isn't fair, but I have to say it, unlike a lot of presentations I've seen, my Q&A is actually takeaways, because I want you to have something to do, all right? So we're going to hop into this. I'm a huge Grateful Dead fan. I know my man Mark up front is as well. You guys are free to tape anything you want. You can record every part of it, okay? I don't care. Share it with your friends. We encourage taping. We want you to do it. At the end, we'll have the takeaway slide. That, if you haven't had your camera out, that's where you'll pull it out. All right, so in order to avoid waste and overspending, we must start with your budget. What is the perfect budget? That is about as loaded as a question as I find Monday through Friday. I used to get asked that time when I sell friends' cars all the time in retail. They'd say, Sean, did I get a good deal on my car? Well, did you feel like you got a good deal? Yeah, I love my car. Well, then you did, right? Good deal is a state of mind. It's how you feel. I'm a huge baseball fan. The only time I use the word perfection is when it actually is no longer subjective, but obvious. In baseball, a perfect game is lined in one way. 9 innings, no hits, no runs, no walks. That's perfect. Other than that, people say I had a perfect meal, I had a perfect experience, because that's how they felt. The budget, you having your perfect budget, means your area of responsibility, what you're trying to accomplish with your goals, and at the end of the day, how you feel about your spend. Now, I say it a lot. I don't typically care for feelings. I'm a fact guy. I got a therapist for my feelings. But I want you to combine both, because that's how you're going to own your spend. That's how you're going to own your marketing. You will find over the next 40 minutes that I'm going to show you that this is not as difficult as it's being proposed to you. It's actually far simpler. You'll hear me use the word simple a lot. We'll be using an example store of mine in Chicago, Chevy store, just on the fringe of the Chicago area. But look, anyone from Illinois, you ask them where they're from Chicago. Okay, that's the default. This guy's right outside. He's about a 50-minute train ride from the city. This is his entire budget, give or take a couple $1,000 he does at the local radio station, okay? This, to him, is the perfect budget. This is one shining example of CarBiz technology. We are huge into technology. We use Microsoft Excel. So, I spent a lot of money developing that tool, so please use it. It's crazy, right? It's like, this isn't a dashboard, it's just a sheet you pull up on your computer or your phone. It's really fun. We want to break it down. I want to show you every percentage of what you see, right? So we see here, we got our TrueCar, we got our Cars.com website, another marketing company, right? $24,000. Yesterday, my friends at Reunion Reunion Marketing sent me a NADA up-to-date dollars per car sold, right? $640. We've spent some $11 billion on marketing in this industry, and we're at $640 a sold car. By quick math, this guy's spending 25 grand selling 125 cars a month. I am not the smartest person in this room, and I don't have my calculator, but I'm pretty sure that's closer to 250 than it is 650. He's been in business 5 years and took a store that was so far in the dregs of society because it had just been run into the ground. And 5 years later, he took it from 50 units to 125. He's going to be the example that you'll hear me reference. You'll see his budgets. You'll see his data. I don't want to talk to you about what could be, what might be. I'll talk to you about what is happening right now. Because when you take time to inspect, none of this stuff is that difficult. It happens by planning ahead. The analytics and process is part of it, but you must start with marketing goals. Please do not say to me your marketing goal is to sell more cars. I already know that. I'm aware. It's just like when you send out emails that you're having a sale. I've got news for you. We all know you're having a sale. We get it. Do something else. Be different. So don't come and say, Sean, the goal is to sell more cars. I start every intro to a new client with the same line. If you were to hire me to sell you more cars, let's shake hands and part ways as friends, because I can't do that. I don't live in your store. I don't breathe your process. I don't want to consult on your process. I already did that. It's not a winning objective for someone like me. I want you to do better, but I have to have goals in order to help you guide your money. Right now, we're guiding millions of dollars based on people having goals, being able to communicate them. Once you have goals, then figure out what you can afford to spend. Sean, I'm a car dealer. What do you mean? I can afford to spend anything. No, you can't. You don't want to. Face it. You'd rather spend less and get more. It's okay. It's your right to ask for it. I think a lot of people that I've listened to over the last 2 days forget why we're all up here talking. The dealers, you're the belle of the ball. We're all here because of you. Some of us want to help. Some of us claim to help. It doesn't matter. The point is we're here for you. I want you to have a budget. And remember, start small with your budget. Start small with your budget. You know why? Because Google don't give you back your money if you spend too much. There's no refund check coming out of that place. Okay? But if you start small, and as a marketing girl I work with down in Madison, Wisconsin says, if it works, feed the beast. Novel concept. If it works, spend more money on it. If it don't, move on. However, must give it time, right? Nothing is instantaneous. I know, trust me, I want immediate gratification more than anybody else. It's like my favorite thing in the world. It's why I have a cell phone. My wife hates it, and I'm always on it. I get it. But here, take time. Respect your budget. Respect what you're trying to do. You don't have to waver. There's no one pushing you around. You are dealers. You own this deal. Without you, I'm talking in the, across the way at the air thing. I mean, we want to do it to help you guys, all right? So from budget, now you have goals, you have budget. Now it is time to find a provider. And yep, there's a few to choose from, sure. Once you have your goals and your budget, though, now you are proactively looking for solutions. That's important to me because now I know you're not being sold because my wife will tell me that, Sean, you're a car guy. You've been one your whole life. You're a pushover. Everyone we go to, they just close you on the spot because you respect a good salesperson, so you just say yes. You guys are the same way. And again, I'm not up here trying to be I don't like vendors. I don't like people who sign up for things. That's not it. I just want you to think through it and then figure out how it's going to fit into your life. Not just sign it, forget it, because guess what? More than likely, the vendor's doing the same thing. Sorry. Sign it and forget it. Keep moving. I need you to take time. So we complete the circle once we find the provider for whatever it is, SEO, SEM, display, geofencing, okay, I don't know, chat, what else do you need? Trade tools, all of it. All of the options, you now have goals, you got to find budget, and then you need to find out who fits it. That's it. Simple. Three pieces, right? I know, it's not as easy as that. But where do we all start when we think about investing digitally? Our website, which makes sense. It's first-party data. Am I allowed to say that? I know it's kind of a weird word right now. Everyone's kind of up in arms about first-party data. I'm not a semantics guy, so that's my website. I own it. That's first-party. That's it. We're done talking about making it about someone else's narrative. It's the first pitfall in planning out your budget, though, guys. Know why? Because you may not know what you're looking for, and I don't mean that to be offensive. I mean that to be honest. If you're a car guy your whole life, I happen to be a car guy my whole life, but I got into Google Analytics and being a data nerd in like 2006, okay? Google Analytics has been out for like 6 months. We're just like, we don't know what this is. Our website provider didn't know what it was, but we went to work on it. We want to figure out what it was. So do you need more traffic? I don't know. Did you just open a point? Are you trying to take market share? Are you looking at year-over-year growth? I mean, these are goals, right, guys? These are the goals I want you to think about. And then on top of that, are you looking for quality versus quantity? Well, Sean, obviously I'm looking for both. I'm a car dealer. Okay, cool. We can get you both, but we got to look at the traffic differently when we dissect it. And as we move through it, I'm going to show you what I mean. There are both. There is a quality way to get a quantity of traffic to your site. Okay? That we can do. I see it done all the time. More importantly, the question of conversion becomes the biggest issue. What is your current percentage of conversion? I know this is like all old hackers, it's last click attribution, whatever, no one's talking about that. It's the reality that we all live in if you've lived in a car dealership. This is still what happens. And there's nothing wrong with it, guys. First one to tell you, there's nothing wrong with still looking at things the way you looked at them. You just need to do it more consistently and be more vigilant about it. That is all. There's nothing wrong with any of the modeling you've been doing. But do you have calls, emails, chats, trade forms? Do you track it? Is your Google Analytics set up appropriately to do so? If not, advice number one, don't spend any money on your website until you have your GA dialed in, period. Unless you're just cool with like throwing it up in the air and hoping you get some back. Otherwise, you need to be paying attention to each and every part of what we're discussing. It's very, very important. So your website can be your pitfall. Here's the other one. Now, I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 on here. That's like, what, 0.1% of the going vendor market today? And yes, the logo is a part of it. I get it. Yes, I'm a vendor. Fine, cool, whatever. There's a million who want to take the money and spend the money, whether it's Auto Trader, Cars.com, Car Gurus, who I refer to, and you'll hear me say it throughout, the big three. Okay, cool. I'm the big three. I will share with you a story later on when we start talking about it last night that I learned from a dealer I met last year at this event. We'll just get to it now. He said to me, Sean, a year ago I met you. You told me I should stop spending money on Auto Trader, so basically I went home, talked with my bosses, and we did it. I was like, oh man, this is either going to go really good or really bad, you know? My advice, this dude's idea, oh, what's going to happen? You know what he says to me? I've been off of it a year. I said, a year sober, congratulations. How'd it go? Well, we're only the #1 dealership in used car sales in northern Massachusetts. Oh, well, that's weird. But you cut the biggest name in the game. How did you do that? Well, we invested in ourselves. We dialed in our processes and realized that we had more leads than we knew what to do with. Well, that's good because Auto Trader is not a lead provider. They'll be the first one to tell you that. Congratulations. So what happened to that $5,000, $6,000 a month? Oh, man, it's gone off the budget, right? That in the Hip National Bank. We saved it. Now I don't find it. It's okay. But he's optimizing every other dollar of his spend based around those ideas. So your potential vendor pool is gigantic. But as I said earlier, there is only one internet. So if you're paying someone to do SEM and PPC, because we love our acronyms, and you just blow through your day because that's what you're doing, because you're here to sell cars, shake hands, go to the service drive, you might not be paying attention to that. Now we got two vendors doing the same thing. You go to me, Sean, it never happens. Oh, God, I wish that was the case. I wish. Now, initially it makes me look like a hero when I look at your budget and I go, oh, you don't pay two people the same thing, right? Guy goes, I didn't know that. He said he was doing SCN, the other guy said he was doing PPC. Not fair, man, not fair. There's simple ways to do it. There's simple ways to go about doing it. Your data and beyond, you have it all at your fingertips. I know that there is a big push right now in the space to have more things at your fingertips, more big data that you can take and crunch down on your behalf. That's fine if you want to go that route. But realistically, what you need, you already have. Let's start with, we're going to, basic GA stuff, right? We're talking about geography. You have it. Google will tell us at a state level it's somewhere around 75% accuracy. That's cool. I'm good. I don't need to be, I don't know. Anyone who has 100% of anything is probably lying to you. So 75%, it's cool with me. I got no problem with 75%. My conversions and my goals, do I have the data? Guys, bad news here, sorry. But if you leave here today and you don't have GA goals set up, and you go back to your store and you set them up and you get all excited, bad news is not retro. Right? So it doesn't go back through your data in the last year and go, oh, these were conversions. No. Today, moving forward. But that's okay. Because if you start today, 6 months from now, we got actionable data. Now, if you're in the Midwest, seasonality plays into it. I might need 12 months, all right? But that's where I'm from, and that's why I look at things the way I do, because what we spend in the Midwest in June, we don't recommend spending in January, because things are different, okay? And we'll talk about seasonal spending as we move through it. You have the opportunity to segment your data. You have the opportunity to compare your data month over month, year over year, quarter over quarter, whatever you like to do, however you like to look at it, you can do it, comparisons. We have secondary dimensions, okay? Here's the cool thing about data in Google Analytics. And again, I know there's some rhetoric around Google Analytics is a tool only for its own advertising. Like, blame them because they figured it out. Like, give me a break. Here's why I think it's important you know this. Because if you want in Google Analytics, you can set up custom dashboards and go through all that nonsense if you want. Or you can just use the tabs on the left side to decide what you want to look at. And if you want to know more, segment your data. If you want to know more than that, add a secondary dimension on top of your segmented data. I know a guy in the room sitting right back in the corner from Reunion Marketing. Dave, this dude will segment on top of secondary dimension. He'll walk out and he'll get down to 3 users and show exactly what happened. That's the kind of nerd this guy is, all right? But that's good. That's what I'm looking for. Those are the partners I want. I want people who are going to dive in and look at my data. Not API feeds going to spit something out to me, tell me what they think I got to know. Not interested. I want people looking at data, people getting involved. That's where the fun happens. Dave's shaking his head. Yeah, Dave, lots of fun, babe. No, you love it. No, you love it. All right, Dave, this is for you, okay? So this is my Dave slide. So what I'm showing you here, yes, same Chevy client, how we do business. You have all users. We added a segment. Is this one important? I don't know, I just picked one randomly. Is mobile traffic important to segment out of your data? Is that something you're interested in? Excellent. When you do that, right, people get all freaked out or they get way too excited when they see red and green. They think it's a stoplight or a stop sign. Oh my God, I have red, or oh my God, green, and they get excited. This is just simply an indicator to show you a direction, folks. It's a guide. Does anyone remember in retail before, I don't know, I want to feel like 2007, 2008, you used to have little books if you were a used car guy? NADA, Black Book, Blue Book, had them in your back pocket. You walk out to a trade, you flip bins, right? You look through them. What was it? What did we tell customers when we walk in and we go, trade's worth 11 grand? Customer goes, whoa, 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 13, use your book, you know? I used NADA online, said it's worth 13. So that's a guide. I apologize. It's not the end all be all. It's just a guide. You're not taking a lot of things into consideration here. This and all of this data I'm going to show you are guides. My girl Amy just walked in from Experian Dealer Positioning System. She's a guide, dude. She's a good, damn good one. But she's a guide. She's not the end all be all. None of this is. It's just not. Stop making it that difficult. So let me ask you. When you look at this and you see traffic, you see how we stacked it, right? 18 on top of 17 February. I want to show it to you what happened year over year. As I said before, in the Midwest, month over month can get kind of weird, you know. We have 2 seasons, winter and construction in Chicago. And so when you have that season, this is what you get. Seasonality is important to look at and remember at all times. Oh my God, bounce rate is up 73%. Sean, what will I do? Nothing. We got onto Facebook traffic, guys. It's okay. It's okay. We have a badass landing page where this stuff goes and converts right out. It's okay. No problem. That's just bounce rate, man. Bounce rate has changed 100 times in its definition since 2006, okay? Now it means you don't go to a second page. So if someone lands on a landing page and has a conversion element or has a click to call and takes that action from there, they are a bounce. Is that bad? No, it's not. And people say to me, well, Sean, you should add more goals. You should get into more things. No, I don't need to. Google Analytics already segments my data. If you want to see how pages perform, go into the behavior. Go into site content. Make sure you have a Sherpa if you're going to go that deep, though. Because it ain't that easy. Not that difficult, but it ain't that easy because you got to know what you're looking for. Goals. GA goals, okay? Now, they can be marketing goals too. I want more VDPs. I want more leads. These are the basics. Now, some of you may be sitting here going, well, wait a second. I heard I had to have like 18 of these things, okay? Like, if I don't have 18 goals, how will I get to the bottom of what happened? This is all you need to do it. As I said earlier, I guide millions of dollars of people's money, and I do it with this. That's not complex enough. You aren't taking enough time to look at the secondary dimensions. If you have a question about it, we'll go look at it. Otherwise, I'm looking at this. Not getting stuck in the minutia. You don't have the time. I barely have the time. I know you don't have it if I don't have it. You're in a dealership, selling cars, living the life, which is not an easy life to live. I know that. As I said, this is year 20, first 12 on one side, now on this side. It's not easy. So if you have these goals, you are all set. If you have 12 others, I'd turn them off probably. Just make it easier on yourself. It's my opinion. You can keep them. It's fine. But its simplicity will win out over anything else every single time. Here's why. This is a goal breakdown within GA. No, Dave, I didn't add a segment to this. I'm just trying to look at conversion for a moment. You see all goals? 7,152. Can you imagine how big that number would be if I had 14 more goals in this thing? Then it looks real impressive, right? It's the shock box number. Woo! 25,000 conversions. 18,000 were maps and directions. High five, what have you learned? Well, that's an indicator of floor traffic. Sure it is. Fine. Great. Do you know your floor traffic? Let's step back a moment. Let's ask ourselves, do we really know how many floor ups we have? 90% of the time, you know what I get asked? I have no idea. Question? No, I was going to say, I know my floor ups. You know the floor ups? Exactly. Is anyone else brave enough to raise their hand and say the same thing? You have people in front counting. So you pay someone to stand at your front door to count your ups? Do you see the lengths that she has gone to? She is a non-selling employee, which most of you are shake your heads going, pass, not interested, non-selling employees. Just, you either sell cars or you service them or you get out. I get it. You got someone who counts her ups. Yet no one else brave enough to raise their hand. I get it. Because the reality is you don't know, and it's okay. It's okay. It's not great. It's not great. I had the same problem at my dealership until every night I'd go home, watch the feed of the day of the front door, and any salesman that took it up that didn't log it, they woke up the next morning, showed the dealership, they had a fine on their desk for $25. Sean, you can't do that. BS. I spent $600 to get that guy through my door, and you didn't even log him? You didn't get his email? You didn't get his phone number? You owe me $25. Trust me, that seems fair. Keep doing it, you're going to pick up the whole bill. Well, you'll fire me. I got no use in firing you. I don't need turnover, okay? I don't need that. I don't need more turnover. Misleading metrics, here we are. This is the fun part. Oh, God, these first four are going to drive me crazy. Okay, so impressions. It's cool, right? I got 1,000,006 of them. Okay, I got a 0.08 click-through rate. When did this become acceptable for any of us to care about? You talk about exception versus rule. What is 0.8? Where does that fall in the exception rule discussion? I don't think it's good, right? But it's fine because if your goal is a brand new point who's trying to brand the hell out of himself and let everyone know they're here, then I want to get like 1,000,006. But here's what I want to tell you and warn you about impressions. If someone has an impression share costing you more than $10 cost per thousand or CPM, they're not doing you a service. And even at $10, you could probably tell that vendor he better drive it down to $7 because Google is pennies on the dollar for his buys. Even if he segments it and targets it, blah, 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 blah. It's not going to get up to $10. There are margins throughout. Please remember that. Please stand up for what you believe in and tell your vendor, no, not doing it. Next, SRP views. It's like the big three's version of impressions. It's cool, man. I'm going to show you the next slide. how much it means very little if you stack your data and pay attention. It's fun that way. Dude, I don't have time, right, to get into the attribution thing. You gave me the halfway point, I think. So here's the long and the short of attribution. If you want to talk data attribution, you want to talk about quality traffic to your site, you want to talk about engagement, I am your guy. I will sit and talk with you until I am blue in the face and my voice is shot. But if you want to talk to me about sales attribution, I am not your guy. I don't believe in unicorns. I don't chase unicorns by habit. I'm Irish. I don't even believe in the little leprechauns, okay? Because they're not real. Sales attribution happens in one place and one place only. Can anyone guess where it is? You're a step late, but you're probably an F&I guy, and I love you for it. Does anyone else know? On the sales floor. The attribution is Tom Jones who sold that effing F-150. That is attribution. None of the rest of this matters. None of it. I can't even bring myself to do a podcast about this on my own podcast because this is what happens. My wife thinks I'm going into a heart attack in the basement. I drive myself nuts. You know why? Because I lived in dealerships. I'm not a tech guy that showed up here and tried to convince you that my product needs in your stores because I can prove you sales. You show me sales attribution, I'll show you a company trying to make a reason to be in our industry. That's what I'll show you. I'm sorry, I'm done now. Bounce rate, that's fun, whatever. Bounce rate can vary. Make sure you look at it by what you were trying to accomplish with your marketing goals when you do it. Okay? Next half. Man, I really should have done this backwards because now I'm like out of shape to do the next one. Sessions and users. Do I have any marketing companies here today? Excellent, excellent. Everybody, a couple guys. Okay, here we are. Here we are. So my marketing guys, and Dave knows it. He knows what I'm going to say. Marketers love sessions. Why? Because it's like the impression number. It's the shock number. Look at your sessions. Well, wait a second. How do I get sessions if I don't fill the new user bucket? Oh, well, yeah, but hold on. We retargeted. I got all these other people here, and now I have all these other sessions. Cool, cool, cool. How many new users did you fill in the funnel? Because I can't retarget, I can't get more sessions if I don't have first ones. Please, please remember that when looking at this. Website backend reporting, if you do it, look at it as a granular grain within whatever else you're looking at, okay? Because they're in the business of fluffing it up. My Chevy store, before he went and launched a secondary website, his OEM mandated website, that's enough, right? Everyone knows what I'm talking about? Showed he had 974 phone calls in 17 days. Thanks, man. I did a great job. I'll see you later. That's 900 calls. His mom called 7,200 times, okay? Like, this is nonsense, and stop looking at it as an end-all, be-all, or some sort of proving method that your website company is working on your behalf. It is typically not the case. I'm sorry to offend people, but it is the reality at which I live. And finally, loss due to budget or rank. There we are again, marketers. If you are charging or doing PPC right now, or SEM, right? If you're doing any of this, and you have a vendor who is charging you a percentage of your budget to do so, I ask you to be leery. Not to be afraid, not to go running, but to be leery. Because when they come to you and they ask you for more budget, like, whose interest is this vetted in? Is it yours? Is it mine? Well, of course it's yours, Mr. Dealer. I want to help you. I want to do more with you. Well, why can't you just do more with what I gave you? What's my loss due to budget? Oh, it's like, 85%. Oh, 85%. I don't really want to own 100% of anything, right? 85% sounds like a really good spot to be in. Well, we need to cover your bases. Okay, how much more is that going to cost me? What I recommend to you is find flat fee companies. Because when they come to you asking for more money, 75% of the time, it's in your best interest. 25% is just so they can be lazy. It's just easier to do less with more of your money. It's easier than digging in. I had a vendor who we cut a budget on, came back to me the next month, and I swear to you, this is what the email said. Sean, although we cut the budget, we dug in and we got even more. Thank you for doing your job. Thank you. Like, is this cookie time? Like, how do we handle this? Like, give me a break. Dig in, challenge these folks to do more for you because, again, why is that? This is your deal. Dealers, you own this deal. You say yes or no. Products go out of business, stay in business because of you. That's how this works. Quickly, Car Guru summary. Now, I told them yesterday when I saw them, I was going to do this to them. I made it clear. February 2017, the dealer had 477,000 SRPs, 14,000 VDPs, and a 3.1 conversion and a 105 leads. This is not bad, right? This is pretty good. This is good value at the time. This is like under $1,000 at the time, right? They can't help themselves, come ask for more money. I get it. We're trying to go public. We're trying to spend money on advertising. I get it. I'm cool. I get it. So what did we do in 2018? For any of you who've watched Car Gurus over the years, 5 years ago, these people were gypsies, okay? They stole your inventory somehow. They posted it, and they just kept running with your inventory, giving you free leads. And you thought to yourself, money on I love these people. This is awesome. Now they have reps in everywhere in the world, and they're spending so much money on every TV, YouTube TV, direct TV, cable TV, radio TV. I don't care, dude. They're spending money everywhere to brand themselves. So what inevitably will happen? Oh my goodness, the shock box number is out of this world. 1.7 million. This is right before they came in and asked for more money. I kid you not. March, they came and asked for more money. Look at the VDP count. Oh my God, it's less. Oh my God. It's less. How did that happen? You know what they do? Oh, it's the dealer's fault. Wait, what? Oh, how's it his fault? He got 14,000 last year. He got the year before that. How is it his fault again? Again, guys, one more piece of CarBiz technology, Microsoft Excel, okay? We stack, we sort, we give you this data, right? Very difficult stuff. Now conversion is 0.8. Look at the lead count. It's 103. How is this the dealer's fault? How is it the dealer's fault? We're not giving you more money to do anything more for us. But Sean, I got you 1 million SRPs, and we're in Chicago. Good for you. Congratulations. You got me 1.7 million SRPs in a city of 4 million people. Come on, man. Give me a break. Next. This is from the aforementioned Reunion Marketing. They, too, subscribe to my technology at CarBiz. Microsoft Excel. Sean, I can't trust a vendor who gives me Microsoft Excel. He uses an API feed to fill the damn thing in. Okay? He doesn't do it like we do it, all right? We got a data team, hand picks that stuff, sits there, beep, 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 looking up, putting in. Why? Because humans is what I want looking at my data, not computers with good, bad, yellow, red. Get out of here. Not interested. Would you let a robot greet your customers? Not yet. Maybe. Not yet. There's loss due to budget. See here? 2.3, don't care, 3%, 36. My God, get on the phone with these people. They're a flat fee company. Why haven't they come to me for more money? Okay, that's my fault. They had, I just said no. Okay, that's my fault. But they were wrong. So what did we do? In August, we went ahead and agreed. Since then, what has happened? Nothing. 10%. He owns 90% of the impression share in his area for Chevys. Is 90% enough for you? It's for me. I'm cool with it. Got no problem with that. You have all the data you need. What to track? AutoTrader, Cars.com, Car Gurus, your website conversions. If you want to get crazy, we can track cost per VDP, okay? Now that's something the big three don't talk enough about. You know why? They might actually look halfway damn decent if they did. They might say to themselves, but Sean, I charged you $5,000, gave you 10,000 VDPs. It's $2. Okay, yeah. 20 cents, 50 cents. Oh, that's a really great job. Not a lot of people do it because they don't look at cost per VDP because we're too busy trying to confuse the statement, trying to tie these people back to the sale of a car. Google says there are 19 digital touch points along the way. Do we agree to that? Is that fair? Are they a good source to agree to that with? 19? Those of you who run dealerships today, are you in the business of 1/19th car deals on your sales floor? You guys don't even want to do half deals anymore. What are we talking about here? But we want to credit out 1/19th of something to someone else? I'm disinterested. I just am. And more importantly, we have one young lady in the middle of the room who has her floor ups. The rest of us do not. Get to the bottom of that. If you have a problem selling cars, which unfortunately, God, I know this is going to sound terrible, most of you have more leads than you could ever know what to do with. Between your CRMs, which I know there's bad, unclean, blah, 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 you have it in there. You have a service drive. As a general manager, I drove service shuttle for 2 hours a morning once a week. Why would you do that? So I can hear the pain of my dealership to my consumer. So I can see where they work. I can see where they live. And when they come back, I can formulate a plan to make sure all that nonsense, because I had a hat on, I looked like ripped jeans, I looked like a driver. When I got back to the office, we sat down and we went over, I pulled everyone in the office. This is what I heard this morning. How did this happen? So get involved on your floors. Just because data is trackable doesn't mean it's going to mean a damn thing to you if you don't know how many floor ups you had. Sorry. How do you compare it? Month over month, year over year, quarter over quarter. What works for you works for you. Here's my advice. Stick to it. Don't get that feeling in the pit of your stomach. You're like, but I've been doing this for a year. I've got to change it. We do it all the time at Car Biz. We're like, man, same video every day for the last 2.5 years. You know why? Nothing changes. Sorry. I know. I'm a buzzkill. I get it. But it's just not this hard. One more. Oh my God, what is this? Car Biz technology. Shake your heads. Yes, you see it again. Here it is. It's stacked up. We go back to 2014 with this guy. 2014. We stack the data. Look at this. 5,000, 6,000. Oh my goodness. 8,000. We can average these out, and within an inch of our lives, we can tell you what's going to happen in February of 2019 as I sit here today. I can plan budgets a year from now, but the market will change, but things will go. I know. I'll listen, I'll watch, and I'll make adjustments accordingly. This is not that hard. Stack your data. You have all of this, guys, but you have to go get it now. You think AutoTrader wants you to have 2 years of stacked data on their back end? Answer, no. They have 13 months if you're lucky. Go get it now. Start tracking now so that you can see the difference being made, because it will show you the difference. Okay? This is cars.com, right? You know what cars.com loves to do in March? Buy every March Madness post known to man to drive 1 billion eyeballs to their sites. It happens all the time. Remember what vendors do. If you see them on TV, if you see them on the internet, remember that is directly going to affect the metrics that you are pulling. It will have an impact. It does move. And here we are at the vendor slide. Oh man, am I all right on time? I feel like I'm okay, right? Good. I get too excited sometimes. All right, so vendors. You all have them, right? Yes, yes. Monthly vendor calls. How many of you have those consistently? My man, good work. How many times have you had, how many AutoTrader reps have you had in the last 2 years? All right, well, so we'll leave it there. I get it. You don't have to say it. It's fine. But this man probably reaches out proactively to every person because he knows change is happening, right? He gets it. So he's like, well, all right, so you're who again? Fine. I need to meet with you. Go over my metrics. Well, I just got to the company. Oh, this is valuable. Great. Cool. You know what? Let me do this. I'm just going to do it myself, okay? And I'll call you when I have a problem with you. But if your vendors are cool and proactive and they want to have these calls, guys, have them. Put aside 25, 30 minutes. That's all. Carve it out. Make it happen. You can make it happen. You can enjoy your time. Do it. Ask the right questions. Lost due to budget. Did you guys know that AutoTrader can give you geographical spotting on your VDPs? You might not because they don't make that public knowledge. Do you know why they don't make that public knowledge? Because who wants to know they had VDPs from like the other side of the country? Nobody. But it's a reality. They're a used car outlet. They're a used car billboard, as they call themselves. Now, I warn them against using that term because I think we all know what happened to billboards. So, I mean, even if it's a digital one, you might want to be careful. But that's fine. You're a billboard. I pay you the way I pay billboards. I cancel you and add you like I have billboards. It's fine. I get it. I do it all the time. Occasionally, have the guts to cut your budget. Why don't I just cut my budget to cut my budget? Sure you do. Sure you do. If you're watching your data, you know exactly where you can cut it and where it's not going to matter. For us, we like to call that January. That's when we do it. Because we're like, well, cool, well, let's see what happens. Let's see what we do if we spend less than we did last year in the month of January, because things are typically slower. It's a good measurement month. Use it. Now, if you're here in sunny Florida, I don't know, just try it after you looked at it. Your data doesn't change. It should all be the same. So just try it. See what happens. But Sean, my God, if I cut Auto Trader today and next month's used car sales are off, I will have known I should have never cut them. Wrong. Wrong. Data doesn't work that way. Buying cycle, you guys know it. It doesn't work that way. It's okay. Customers are taking, even for used cars, they're taking 2 weeks to make a decision. They're still taking months to look and review and hit those 19 digital touch points. So please, again, I stress to you, don't get caught up in the fear that somehow if you make a decision now, you can't correct that decision in 60 or 90 days from now. Because you can. And if you don't know your floor ups, you can't actually tell me if it worked or if it didn't. That's what I want you to think about. Okay, this one gets a little hairy. Avoid shiny object syndrome, as I call it. Now, this event is all about it. And I get it. And again, I love it. Please, when I was a dealer, I love coming to these events. I learn. I see all the new vendors. But please, don't get stuck in it. The quote you see below, any tool is only as good as the people using it, is from a quote of a dealer friend of mine who runs a Honda store in the middle of millennial tech hell in Palo Alto, California. Okay? So when this guy tells me about his products, such as his new one, Roadster, because digital retail, which by the way is just something you do when you're being courteous to your customers and offer them delivery and a quick way to buy a car. You don't need more tech for that. We've been doing it forever. When you do that, when you have digital retail, you hear about all these customers who are buying cars online because Amazon is going to close our dealership single-handedly. They're not. That dealer I just described to you does less than 4% end-to-end sales on 400 Hondas a month. 4%, and he tried to do that. When he stops trying and just lets people engage his site, digital retailing is another lead trap, and that's awesome. He's also a guy I use to prove out. He's in Palo Alto. Location, location, location. Do you know what he spends on digital marketing for his website? Take a guess. I said he's in Palo Alto. He's in California. All right, it's the last session. No one wants to guess? Fine. $1,800 on SEO. What? How do you do that? He doesn't have to do anything. He's in Palo Alto, California. His website with his new widget, his digital retail tool, my bad. When he has those, his site is aggregating on average 1,000 leads a month, and I'm not talking about phone calls. Okay? How does he do it? What? He does it because he's in Palo Alto. Okay? People want Hondas, gas-efficient, electric car, whatever. He's just got to stay relevant. He uses Facebook to stay relevant. But he doesn't do it in a paid way. You can ask his marketing department. They're in the back. They don't. They ask. He's like, not interested. I organically post. I have an audience. I'm cool. So it's possible, depending on where you are, which is what I want you to keep in mind, if you're not in Palo Alto, millennial hell, and you're in Omaha, Nebraska, I'm going to assume the number doesn't just skyrocket to 20% of people want to go end-to-end. So take in consideration to your market area, and don't be swayed by this idea that you have to make it a car buying experience online. Be swayed by the fact that you need to stop screwing around, you need to be honest, and make it easy. You don't need more widgets to do that. You just need to do it. Take advantage of training from vendors. There's cool things coming out. There are products. However, remember, they cannot get out of their own way. They can't just be great at one thing. I've met them all. Man, I got this really cool company that does lead conversion. Awesome. 3 months into our relationship with my dealer, they come to me and go, hey, come here. We got AI. Oh, yeah, big AI. Social AI, display AI, and we're going to integrate it all into this product. We're going to take the price from $7.99 to $13.99. The hell you are. I already have a chat company. I think machine learning is slightly silly, and I'm terrified of it, to be honest with you. And so I want you to keep in mind that this isn't always about what you see. It's about what you're actually using. You have a plan, stick to it. Remember, time and inspection is how you stick to your plan. Please, guys, keep it in mind. Time and inspection. Two things. One, time. I know you're a dealer. You don't have a lot of it. And inspecting. Remember, when we talk inspecting, excuse me, I don't want you to inspect leads in CRM to sold cars. I want you to inspect quality of data and hire someone to stand at your front door and count your ups. That's what I want. She could, with a tick sheet. I'll take it. I will.
She even takes pictures. I'm the best.
See? Look at this. We've got a multi-tool individual, guys. Look at dealers turning around going, I gotta find me one of those, Swiss Army knives. They're cool, right? But you guys have bigger problems, right? You have turnover issues that are like through the roof, right? We can't keep people. Once they leave, we can't find anyone to hire. So we've got to kind of change a little bit of our culture, but I'm not in that business. It's hard to change culture, man. It's got to be the highest of high level, all the way down. The last group I was with, when I left, it was nasty, it was ugly, I was buying in, it was a disaster. After I left, 2 years later, I went back, saw the guys, we sat down, had a beer, and the owner came to me and he said, Sean, I'll tell you one thing that I learned from you leaving. I had to change the culture of my stores because I was never going to let that happen again. Not going to lose quality people because I like to scream, yell, and fire people on Fridays. Good for you, man. High five, but you're the only one who could have gotten that done. Trainers can't come in and do it for you guys. I was a corporate trainer. You know what happens when I leave the building? Sales manager goes, I don't know what you just heard, but I'm not interested. I'm interested in what I told you to do. Go do it. Go close the deal. I'm busy at my desk. I couldn't possibly be bothered to get off my ass. Here we are. Take out your phones. Begin recording. This is where the party happens. These are the takeaways you take back to your store because this is the final slide, and I have like 5 minutes to get to it. And we can Q&A because we're the last session. We don't have to go anywhere. I either could take a 1 o'clock flight back to Chicago or a 6. I'm on the 6. So we have time. Let's engage it. Let's have fun. Here we are. Ready? 1. Planning ahead means knowing your own marketing goals. What is not a marketing goal? That's correct, Jay Kales. Thank you. And he works for the manufacturer, for God's sakes. You think he cares more than anybody. He's smart enough to know that ain't his bag. That ain't this bag. That ain't how this works. There's more to it than that. A marketing goal is VDPs, phone ups, branding my store, converting, going after my competitor. Those are goals I can live with and you should live with. Use Google Analytics, although today I won't lie to you guys. Okay, I have to say this. Today I stopped into a session, but like one of the ones before mine today, trying to clear my head and just walk away. And I walked in, and right when I walked in, it was like, okay, this is the part of the presentation that really gets people going. I'm like, sweet, like I need to get going. Like I'm going to listen. And it came up on the screen and it said, well, who's the only free marketing tool who judges their own marketing dollars? And I rolled my eyes, similar to what I always tell my wife to stop doing to me. And I said to the guy next to me, Mark over here, Mark, let me guess, Google Analytics? He hits the slide deck, boom! Google Analytics logo, like in like demon gray and red colors, Oh my God. And he says, look, the default and the only way Google looks at attribution is last click. Oh, wait, dude, are you going to follow this up or is he just going to leave it here? Well, you can reconfigure your GA. It's a lot of work. Bro, it's a click. What are we talking about? There are multiple attribution modeling touch points inside the free advertiser of Google Analytics. And again, don't blame them because they figured out search, SEO, PPC, and the damn internet. It's not their fault. You wish you worked there. You wish you were a receptionist when it all started. But it's not the case. So don't get confused. Use it simply. You're never going to use time decay. You're never going to use linear. Do you know why all of that's in there? I'll give you a quick, honest answer. I, Sean Welsh, am not Google Analytics certified. Oh my God. How are you qualified to talk about Google Analytics? Until you get an e-commerce website, you can take that certification and you know where you can put it. Because that's why Google Analytics was invented. Was for e-commerce. Not for car dealers like everything else in our lives. We've bent it to our will. It comes on board with us. Now it asks us questions. Again, similar to Car Gurus. 8 years ago, could you find a Google rep? When you called Google, did someone pick up from the automotive division? No. Why'd they get in the automotive division? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because we fund all of their 401ks for the rest of their lives? Maybe that's why we did it. Maybe that's why they now give a shit about us. Well, good. Welcome to the party, Google. Thank you. I wish I had another option, and in some markets, Bing, for some of you, is an alternative. It truly is. It's inexpensive in comparison. Facebook marketing, same way. If Google cost you $4 a click, Facebook probably cost you 40 cents. I know they shared all your data with the Russians. But as good old Americans, in 14 days from now, we will have all forgotten. We'll go back to posting the pictures of our children, and we will move on with our lives. That's what I want you to know. That is how this will go every single time. Avoid misleading metrics and use, sorry guys, I love the word simple. I'm a big fan of it. Simple goals to track performance. Anyone guess what I think is the most misleading metric in the game today? Guys are being nice. Attribution, stay away from it. On the sales side, let's talk data all day. Quality data, I'm all about it. Avoid misleading metrics and make sure that you have facts to back up how you feel. I'm a big baseball fan. I use the Moneyball example. Moneyball is only successful because there are data nerds sitting there dissecting things, which, by the way, you want to talk about getting into the minutia of statistics? Check out baseball, man. Check out what those dudes track, okay? Swing velocity of an 18-year-old in Cuba. Like, what are we talking about here? It's a metric. But how did we get here? In this world, you have plenty of misleaders, but you need to just focus on what matters. But they are guides. People in stores, receptionists with tick sheets. They have other answers. We combine the whole story. I need eyes on the ground, scouts at the floor level. We work together. Guys, too many of your dealerships are siloed. I am in service. Sales, the offices of the general manager. Nah, man, bust that down. Come on in. Get a hug. Get everyone together. The only way this works is if you're all pulling the rope the same way. A silly cliche, but it works in this state. Track your own data. Data to make marketing decisions and hold vendors accountable. But Sean, I don't have the time. I get it. Then don't come to me or anyone else and tell me you think you spend too much money on digital. Make the time, man. Or find a company, I don't know if there's any out there that do it, that will just look at your data, that will just take care of your vendors. I don't know if there is. But I think there might be. So probably check them out, see if they can help you. Inspect vendor performance monthly. Compare that data against your, yes, I made it bigger because I wanted to prove a point, right? Your prior performance. Ignore national performance standards. Ignore them. What do you care what goes on in Manhattan if you are in Omaha? What does it prove to you? Everyone probably heard of Paragon Honda. I consider Brian and his team to be like the 1% car dealer. Why? Because he has to be. He's in Manhattan. There's like 50 million people there. He has to be there. He has 24-hour service departments. How many of you can even fathom the idea? So don't get stuck on what he does. Just look, take what you can do, and put it in your store. But don't feel compelled to do what he does. You can't. Unless you're opening up a competing store in Manhattan, which I would severely advise against. He's got it. What your neighbor does ain't what you do. It doesn't, unless you know your neighbor intimately enough to know how he handles every lead, to know every dollar he spends, to know every provider he uses, to know every single thing about his store that you know about your own, ignore him. You want to compete with him, you want to go after him, fine. But don't get stuck on, well, this is what he did. I've walked into stores before that have the competitors' ads blistered all over their office. In this like fear and panic of like, well, oh my God, he dropped the lease to $3.99. I got to keep up. Well, how do you know how he's marketing? How do you know how you're marketing? How do you know any of this? Take your time. So we are up against it, but I will, please, if you have questions, now's the time. Otherwise, as I said, I have a 6 o'clock, and I will just be simply hanging out here. All right? No questions? Well, here's the biggest thing I want you to tell you. When you clap, don't clap for me, clap for yourselves, because without dealers, I don't even stand up here. So for all the dealers, thank you very much for being here today.